Understanding the balanced nakshatras. Bharani, ruled by Venus and symbolized by the yoni, female womb, is a balanced nakshatra embodying the sacred tension between discipline and surrender, life and death, law and transformation. It represents a mature soul that carries burdens not for drama, but for meaningful rebirth. Its energy is neither overly assertive nor passive. It regulates, reforms, and renews. When afflicted, Bharani becomes judgmental, morally rigid, or stuck in black and white thinking. But when favorable, it reflects profound maturity, self-restraint, and the grace to transform chaos into beauty. Bharani's balance lies in learning when to endure, when to push back, and when to let go. It echoes the serenity prayer. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house, skills, talent, communication. Core expression, intense self-expression, transformative communication, moral precision. Venus plus Mars in Bharani gives powerful control over words and actions. These individuals speak with conviction, often advocating for justice, women's rights, or spiritual freedom. Their hands may serve in midwifery, creative activism, or crisis healing through arts. They are both emotionally charged and ethically restrained, giving a voice to the voiceless without drama. Talent themes: crisis communication, ritual writing, sensual design, sacred advocacy. Shadow side: harsh tone, dogmatic opinions, moralistic sibling conflicts. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: balanced creativity, sacred duty and education, expressive transformation. Venus, Jupiter in Bharani, fifth, blends creative pleasure with ethical purpose. These natives teach sacred sexuality, create mythic art, or lead in women's health education. Their style is dramatic yet grounded. They nurture students or children with discipline and depth. They embody the art of teaching taboo topics with grace. Talent themes: tantric arts, feminist literature, karmic education, symbolic theater. Shadow side: creative guilt, aesthetic rigidity, emotionally controlling parenting style. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: lawful devotion, ethical philosophy, compassionate structure. Venus plus Saturn in Bharani, ninth, creates karmic reformers, those who uphold the law, yet understand the need for mercy. These individuals study moral philosophy, dharmic law, or women-centered theology. They reframe spiritual conservatism into something meaningful, inclusive, and powerful. Talent themes: feminist theology, tantric scripture, cultural justice education, mythological scholarship. Shadow side: excessive moral policing, harsh critique of spiritual systems, discomfort with ambiguity. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution, core expression, ethical authority, balanced leadership, transformation through public duty. Venus, Sun in Bharani bestows visibility in careers tied to law, birth, women's rights, or artistic administration. These natives manage what others avoid: death, sex, moral gray zones. They are seen as ethical pioneers, unafraid to bring grace to intense social themes. Their professional legacy is one of cleansing, justice, and transformation without chaos. Talent themes: midwifery leadership, karmic healing professions, aesthetic law, NGO leadership. Shadow side: rigid public image, over-sacrifice, sanctimonious criticism of competitors. Conclusion: Bharani is where the womb becomes the courtroom, where death births life and structure births transformation. These balanced nakshatra natives carry fire with dignity and sensuality with boundaries. Their maturity lies in understanding the limits of force and the necessity of surrender. When Bharani is activated, it teaches that all true creation comes with responsibility, and all true discipline must make space for rebirth. Understanding the balanced nakshatras, Rohini. Rohini, ruled by the moon and symbolized by the chariot, is the epitome of beauty, fertility, and graceful manifestation. As a balanced nakshatra, Rohini harmonizes sensuality with discipline, growth with containment, and creativity with stability. It doesn't force change, nor does it retreat. It cultivates, nourishes, and refines. When afflicted, Rohini can become possessive, status-obsessed, or resistant to any emotional disruption. But when favorable, it reflects grounded maturity, patient charm, and the ability to transform beauty into a vehicle for purpose. Rohini balances pleasure with depth, charm with values, and echoes the serenity prayer. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house, skills, talent, communication. Core expression, artistic speech, rhythmic learning, embodied communication. Moon plus Mercury in Rohini, third, creates charming orators, storytellers, or communicators with magnetic voices and emotional appeal. These natives excel in writing, music, and diplomacy. They may also have talent in media, lyricism, or culinary communication. Their articulation is musical, affectionate, and persuasive, expressing warmth, not confrontation. Talent themes: singing, baking shows, poetry recitation, culinary arts, emotional negotiation. Shadow side: over-attachment to image, emotional oversharing, jealousy among siblings or collaborators. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: aesthetic learning, fertile intelligence, devotional creativity. Mars-Venus in Rohini, fifth, merges passion with artistry. These natives are brilliant performers, dancers, fashion designers, or ceremonial artists. Their creativity comes with emotional richness and strong visual impact. They often serve as cultural icons or expressive teachers to youth with a commanding yet nurturing presence. Talent themes: classical arts, romantic drama, youth mentoring through art, devotional performance. Shadow side: creative rivalry, overindulgence in pleasure, theatrical emotionality. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, nurturing belief, aesthetic philosophy, emotionally grounded faith. Sun plus Jupiter in Rohini, ninth, brings radiant devotion and generous teaching energy. These individuals serve as spiritual educators, cultural historians, or visionaries of feminine-centered philosophies. They believe in beauty as a path to truth. They attract students through love, not authority, and express faith through aesthetics, nature, and music. Talent themes: bhakti philosophy, temple restoration, sacred architecture, educational pilgrimage. Shadow side: ego and belief systems, excessive cultural pride, discomfort with spiritual minimalism. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Graceful leadership, beauty-driven mission, grounded visibility. Saturn Rahu in Rohini 10th creates determined professionals in fashion, luxury, healing, or artistic governance. These natives slowly rise to prominence, often building stable careers in industries that merge tradition and sensuality. They may work in real estate, agriculture, high-end hospitality, or as spiritual caregivers. Public trust is built through consistency, not spectacle. Talent themes: land wealth, interior design, traditional luxury crafts, healing cuisine, sustainable lifestyle branding. Shadow side: fear of change in career, excessive comfort zone, attachment to status symbols. Conclusion: Rohini teaches that true growth is not wild, it is cultivated. These balanced nakshatra natives build beauty that lasts, lead with grace, and serve with sensual steadiness. They are neither ascetics nor hedonists. They are the gardeners of refined prosperity. When Rohini is honored, we learn that spiritual truth can be clothed in soft silks, and divine presence can come through perfume, music, and warm meals. Understanding the balanced nakshatras, Ardra. Ardra, ruled by Rahu and symbolized by the teardrop, is the storm that seeks balance, not by denying pain, but by facing it head-on. As a balanced nakshatra, Ardra embodies the sacred role of disruption as a catalyst for inner truth. It balances intellect with emotion, rebellion with devotion, and curiosity with compassion. When afflicted, Ardra becomes hypercritical, emotionally volatile, or nihilistic. When favorable, it reflects profound mental clarity, ethical rebellion, and healing through honest confrontation. Ardra stands for radical maturity, the courage to sit with grief, the willingness to break patterns, and the wisdom to know when clarity is more loving than comfort. It lives the serenity prayer with thunder. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house: skills, talent, communication, core expression, truth-speaking, sharp intellect, communication that cuts through denial. Mars plus Mercury in Ardra, third, produces fearless orators, analysts, and bold communicators. These natives are investigative journalists, coders, emergency responders, or public educators who confront harsh truths with precision. Their communication carries edge and purpose, designed to awaken, not entertain. Talent themes: activist speech, data journalism, tech repair, sharp diagnostics, shadow side. cutting sarcasm, alienation through bluntness, wounded sibling dynamics. Fifth house, creative intelligence and learning style core expression, transformational creativity, intense learning cycles, performance with purpose. Moon plus Ketu in Ardra, fifth, creates emotionally complex artists or teachers. These natives express storm energy through poetry, psychodrama, crisis healing arts, or raw stage presence. Their learning path includes deep emotional highs and collapses that rebuild their creative foundations. Talent themes: crisis-based storytelling, grief ritual performance, myth-breaking theater. Shadow side: emotional volatility in teaching, dramatic expression rooted in unprocessed trauma. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, intellectual rebellion, ethical disruption, seeker of inconvenient truths. Sun plus Rahu in Ardra at ninth forms philosophical radicals, science-minded mystics, or spiritual disruptors. These individuals challenge outdated beliefs and initiate reform through activism, satire, or inquiry. They often become leaders of countercultures or intellectual awakeners for their communities. Talent themes: science, spirituality, philosophical deconstruction, protest theology. Shadow side: arrogance in belief, spiritual cynicism, alienation from traditional elders. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution core expression, public crisis manager, truth-based reformer, systems analyst. Saturn plus Venus in Ardra 10th produces careers that blend crisis work with ethical artistry, healing systems through beauty or reforming industries through exposure. These natives excel in IT, healthcare reform, media ethics, or fashion activism. Their public presence is intense but necessary. They clear the rot so healing can begin. Talent themes: social justice leadership, emergency services, ethical brand consulting, trauma education. Shadow side: career burnout, emotional detachment from clients, being feared instead of followed. Conclusion: Ardra is the storm before balance, the breakdown that invites healing. It doesn't seek peace by avoiding discomfort, it seeks peace through purification. These balanced nakshatra natives help others cry the tears they've hidden, say the truths they've denied, and reclaim power by naming the pain. When Ardra is honored, the world learns that disruption is not destruction. It's emotional honesty, demanding its rightful place in growth. Understanding the balanced nakshatras, Purva Phalguni. Purva Phalguni, ruled by Venus and symbolized by the hammock, is a balanced nakshatra devoted to joy, union, and soulful relaxation. It teaches that true maturity is not about relentless striving. It's about knowing when to rest, receive, and relate with integrity. This nakshatra is deeply relational, artistic, and socially magnetic. When afflicted, it can indulge in vanity, laziness, or attention-seeking. But when favorable, it brings emotional wisdom and love, harmonious leadership, and creative balance between duty and delight. Purva Phalguni asks not for perfection, but for presence. It honors the serenity prayer through ease. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: artistic communication, charming speech, sensual intelligence. Venus plus Mercury in Purva Phalguni third creates charismatic communicators, lyrical writers, and seductive brand strategists. These natives may excel in fashion writing, love advice, advertising, or hosting cultural conversations. Their speech is smooth, persuasive, and emotionally intelligent. Talent themes: aesthetic consulting, luxury branding, romantic writing, visual storytelling. Shadow side: gossip, charm without depth, avoidance of serious topics. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, devotional creativity, theatrical grace, joy-centered learning. Sun plus Venus in Purva Phalguni, fifth, grants magnetic artistic intelligence and a flair for performance. These natives are natural actors, dancers, or cultural curators who bring joy, romance, and vibrancy to every space. They thrive in playful teaching environments and often bring healing through art. Talent themes: theater, classical arts, romantic poetry, children's education and arts. Shadow side: creative overindulgence, jealousy and love, difficulty accepting feedback. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: joyful philosophy, spiritual sensuality, aesthetic dharma. Jupiter's Venus in Purva Phalguni, ninth, produces lovers of spiritual aesthetics, those who find divinity in ritual, music, partnership, and beauty. These individuals may follow goddess traditions, sacred erotic teachings, or become scholars of art and ethics. They teach that pleasure and virtue are not opposites but complements. Talent themes: Tantra education, spiritual design, feminine wisdom traditions, cultural restoration. Shadow side: discomfort with austerity, moral hedonism, spiritual entitlement. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: harmonious leadership, beauty and service, celebration as impact moon plus Saturn in Purva Phalguni, 10th, reflects careers rooted in care, art, or hospitality, brought forth with discipline and grace. These natives may work in marriage consultation, luxury events, spa healing, HR roles, or creative direction. They lead through warmth, not force, and are respected for their emotional poise in public life. Talent themes: event management, relational therapy, luxury services, arts governance. Shadow side: avoidance of confrontation, fear of responsibility interrupting pleasure, status dependence. Conclusion: Purva Phalguni reminds us that balance is not just built on effort, but on love, celebration, and honest rest. These balanced nakshatra natives offer the world the medicine of joy with depth, creativity with purpose, and pleasure without apology. They teach that when relationships are aligned and beauty is honored, the soul learns best and lives longest. Understanding the balanced nakshatras. Uttara Phalguni. Uttara Phalguni, ruled by the sun and symbolized by the back legs of a bed, represents balanced responsibility, the harmonious merging of partnership with purpose. As a balanced nakshatra, it brings the maturity to honor vows, nurture commitments, and serve with dignity. It integrates leisure with duty, passion with discipline, and love with accountability. When afflicted, Uttara Phalguni can become sanctimonious, overly rigid, or stuck in perfectionism. When favorable, it offers radiant steadiness, structured compassion, and loyalty that uplifts both self and others. It breathes life into the serenity prayer through self-respect. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. 3rd house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: collaborative communication, diplomatic clarity, structured support. Sun plus Mercury in Uttara Phalguni, 3rd, creates communicators who are articulate, dependable, and excellent at managing group communication or educational content. These natives often serve as editors, advisors, or calm problem solvers among siblings or colleagues. Their speech heals misunderstandings with calm clarity. Talent themes: legal documentation, speech therapy, academic advising, editorial diplomacy. Shadow side: pedantic tone, expectation of emotional reciprocity in communication, avoidance of conflict. 5th house: creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, responsible creativity, leadership and teaching, moral expression. Saturn plus Moon in Uttara Phalguni, 5th, gives a strong, duty-bound connection to education and mentoring. These natives may feel responsible for the well-being and guidance of children, students, or creative teams. They are emotionally intelligent teachers, firm yet nurturing, and thrive when creativity has a cause. Talent themes: educational reform, ethical arts leadership, values-based curriculum design. Shadow side: emotional rigidity, self-sacrifice in creative settings, guilt-based learning patterns. 9th house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, sacred commitment to truth, ethical teaching, refined faith. Jupiter plus Sun in Uttara Phalguni, 9th, brings noble mentorship and dharmic leadership. These natives are drawn to institutions that honor both intellect and service, such as ancient gurukulas, humanitarian universities, or interfaith movements. They may become respected spiritual teachers, judges, or traditional reformers. Talent themes: intergenerational teaching, legal spiritual integration, religious administration. Shadow side: moral superiority, rigid beliefs masked as virtue, burnout from institutional burdens. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution. Core expression: service-led leadership, administrative dignity, structured healing presence. Venus plus Saturn in Uttara Phalguni, 10th, brings professional grace, refined relationship management, and commitment to collective well-being. These natives succeed in HR, public health, partnership law, or nonprofit leadership. Their presence earns loyalty through calm reliability and diplomatic authority. Talent themes: marriage counseling, public service leadership, ethical negotiation, administrative healing. Shadow side: difficulty saying no, martyrdom in work, public invisibility due to behind-the-scenes roles. Conclusion: Uttara Phalguni is the marriage between light and law, where joy takes responsibility and service honors love. These balanced nakshatra natives anchor others through clarity, structure, and silent loyalty. They remind the world that real relationships require boundaries, and true success is built not just on brilliance, but on consistency. They don't shout, they show up, and through that, they change everything. Understanding the balanced nakshatras, Purva Ashadha. Purva Ashadha, ruled by Venus and symbolized by the elephant's tusk, is a balanced nakshatra of strategic optimism, principled ambition, and victorious expression. It marries emotion with intellect, sensitivity with strength, and creative vision with disciplined effort. As a balanced nakshatra, it seeks to win not through force, but through alignment with deeper values. When afflicted, Purva Ashadha can turn sanctimonious, inflexible, or overly obsessed with being right. But when favorable, it produces moral leaders, gifted strategists, and voices for truth who uplift society with beauty and resolve. Purva Ashadha reflects the serenity prayer with noble fire. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house, skills, talent, communication. Core expression, strategic speech, victorious messaging, emotionally intelligent persuasion. Venus, Mars, and Purva Ashadha third creates powerful communicators who blend diplomacy with determination. These individuals speak with rhythmic eloquence and are persuasive in debates, coaching, or advocacy. Their skill lies in emotionally attuned arguments delivered with charismatic confidence. Talent themes: debate, public speaking, legal defense, victory-focused storytelling. Shadow side: righteous tone, inflexible arguments, emotional manipulation in speech. Fifth house, creative intelligence and learning style, core expression, inspirational creativity, triumphant education, graceful mastery. Sun plus Jupiter in Purva Ashadha fifth produces radiant creative leaders and teachers. These individuals learn by leading and lead by learning. Their intelligence is expansive, joyful, and value-driven. Whether they express themselves through performance, sports, or scholarship, they elevate others with them. Talent themes: motivational arts, youth leadership, philosophical performance, sacred teaching. Shadow side: ego-inflated creativity, competitive mentorship, intolerance of alternative ideas. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: idealistic reform, spiritual eloquence, moral expansion. Moon plus Venus in Purva Ashadha brings emotional devotion to truth and a refined aesthetic in philosophy. These natives often become diplomats of spiritual values, integrating cultural ideals, sacred arts, and emotional wisdom into formal teaching systems. They may travel to sacred waters, teach devotional strategy, or promote global peace through faith. Talent themes: peace diplomacy, cross-cultural education, spiritual strategy, sacred literature. Shadow side: idealized belief systems, moral rigidity disguised as tolerance, emotional elitism, and faith. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution, core expression, ethical ambition, graceful leadership, victory through inner alignment. Saturn plus Mercury in Purva Ashadha, 10th, gives the ability to articulate strategy in public roles with grace and persistence. These individuals often rise in governance, publishing, consultancy, or conflict resolution. Their professional path is marked by well-timed victories and unwavering commitment to principled execution. Talent themes: strategic policy, ethical branding, writing for justice, visionary administration. Shadow side: fear of imperfection, public image obsession, resistance to necessary risk. Conclusion: Purva Ashadha brings the maturity of knowing that true victory is inner. These balanced nakshatra natives win hearts in battles not by overpowering, but by persuading. Their path is one of graceful assertion, fighting not to dominate, but to elevate. They are the peacemakers with swords of clarity, the artists who reform society, the quiet revolutionaries whose victories change the moral tide. Understanding the balanced nakshatras, Uttara Ashadha. Uttara Ashadha, ruled by the sun and symbolized by the elephant tusk or victory arch, is the nakshatra of undefeated truth, where discipline meets dignity and commitment meets cause. As a balanced nakshatra, it blends idealism with realism, personal ambition with public good, and tradition with forward momentum. When afflicted, it may become rigid, overly hierarchical, or morally self-righteous. But when favorable, Uttara Ashadha expresses timeless integrity, graceful leadership, and service-oriented authority that uplifts collective well-being. This nakshatra channels the serenity prayer through leadership. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house, skills, talent, communication. Core expression, mission-driven communication, strategic leadership in speech, purposeful expression. Sun plus Mars in Uttara Ashadha, third, gives courageous, structured communicators who speak with a moral compass. These individuals often function as disciplined orators, strategic campaigners, or educators in ethics or civic responsibility. They express authority without aggression and speak to mobilize. Talent themes: military communication, civic education, political writing, motivational speech. Shadow side: authoritarian tone, impatience with alternate views, sibling dynamics rooted in control. Fifth house, creative intelligence and learning style core expression, structured creativity, principled mentorship, ethical performance. Saturn plus Venus in Uttara Ashadha, fifth, brings refined, disciplined creative output. These individuals teach by example, often in fields requiring technical mastery, moral clarity, or institutional respect. Their creativity serves duty, and their artistry teaches accountability. Talent themes: classical arts, creative direction in service fields, sacred performance, educational reform. Shadow side: emotional stiffness in expression, controlled joy, pressure to set the example. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: traditional wisdom, disciplined faith, spiritual guardianship. Jupiter plus Saturn in Uttara Ashadha, ninth, produces devoted institutional scholars, lawful philosophers, or teachers of Dharma who walk their talk. These natives hold lineage with reverence and reform it without breaking its foundation. They are spiritual realists, builders of moral legacy, not just believers. Talent themes: ethics education, constitutional law, Vedic leadership, cultural stewardship. Shadow side: inflexible beliefs, guilt-driven spirituality, exclusion of unconventional wisdom. 10th house, career purpose, public contribution. Core expression, public service, righteous authority, legacy-building leadership. Moon plus Mercury in Uttara Ashadha, 10th, supports careers in government, social reform, publishing, or institutions where truth must be clearly articulated. These individuals are emotionally grounded public figures with excellent clarity and long-term vision. They often serve silently, yet are deeply respected. Talent themes: civil service, policy writing, NGO leadership, emotional governance. Shadow side: suppression of personal needs, burnout through overservice, difficulty delegating. Conclusion: Uttara Ashadha teaches that true victory is lived, not declared. These balanced nakshatra natives lead by example, commit without glamour, and embody the ideal that purpose is greater than personality. They are builders of trust, guardians of ethics, and quiet architects of enduring impact. When they align with truth, not pride, they become the steady flame that outlives the storm. Understanding the balanced nakshatras. Uttara Bhadrapada, ruled by Saturn and symbolized by the back legs of a funeral cot, is the quiet powerhouse of the zodiac, where emotional maturity meets spiritual endurance. As a balanced nakshatra, it sustains depth without drama, compassion without codependency, and purpose without pride. It offers the rare grace of inner stillness, wisdom earned through emotional detachment and loving realism. When afflicted, it can become overly withdrawn, rigidly idealistic, or paralyzed by passive pessimism. But when favorable, it radiates grounded empathy, spiritual anchoring, and a rare capacity to hold collective sorrow without collapsing into it. Uttara Bhadrapada lives the serenity prayer from within. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house: skills, talent, communication core expression, spiritual articulation, silent influence, thoughtful outreach. Saturn plus Mercury in Uttara Bhadrapada, third, creates slow, profound thinkers and communicators who may write sacred texts, develop therapeutic language models, or counsel quietly through deeply chosen words. Their communication style leans toward internal wisdom, sparse, weighty, and well-timed. Talent themes: spiritual journalism, grief counseling, monastic teaching, quiet activism, shadow side, over-isolation in ideas, under-communication with siblings, fear of being misunderstood. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style. Core expression: inner-driven creativity, sacred education, emotionally rooted brilliance. Moon plus Jupiter in Uttara Bhadrapada 5th produces intuitive teachers, emotionally resonant artists, and caretakers of sacred knowledge. These natives often educate children or students through moral storytelling, spiritual principles, or compassionate listening. Their joy comes from guiding others toward inner truth. Talent themes: emotional education, mantra arts, soul-based learning, storytelling for healing. Shadow side: emotional absorption, creative passivity, overinvestment in student outcomes. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems, core expression, quiet devotion, timeless wisdom, karmic surrender. Venus plus Saturn in Uttara Bhadrapada. Builds a devotional scholar or graceful spiritual administrator, someone who respects tradition but brings gentle reform. They may follow goddess traditions, non-dual paths, or dharmic service roles grounded in unconditional care and inclusion. Talent themes: temple education, spiritual elderhood, devotional publishing, karma yoga institute shadow side. Hidden rigidity, fear of spiritual confrontation, excessive acceptance of systemic burdens. 10th house: career, purpose, public contribution core expression, spiritual leadership, social healing, graceful responsibility. Sun plus Moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, 10th, gives calm, karmic leaders who carry emotional intelligence into public service. These natives may lead hospice movements, mental health reform, sacred service programs, or ancestral healing projects. Their strength lies in what they carry, not what they display. Talent themes: social caregiving, nonprofit healing, ancestral rites, emotional governance. Shadow side: career invisibility, martyrdom, burnout from serving silently without recognition. Conclusion: Uttara Bhadrapada is the wisdom that walks in soft footsteps. These balanced nakshatra natives do not seek recognition. They offer relief. They hold the grief others avoid, build legacies others abandon, and heal wounds others ignore. Their balance is spiritual sobriety, grace under karmic weight. When aligned, they become the silent anchors of their families, communities, and even nations. Understanding the balanced nakshatras. Revati. Revati, ruled by Mercury and symbolized by a pair of fish swimming in opposite directions, is the final nakshatra, a place where endings become beginnings, and personal grace merges into collective compassion. As a balanced nakshatra, Revati integrates worldly duties with spiritual calling, emotional sensitivity with practical logic, and nurturing love with intuitive detachment. When afflicted, it may express as escapism, over-idealism, or chronic indecision. But when favorable, it offers deeply empathetic leadership, artistic healing, and the wisdom to walk between realms while still showing up in this one. Revati harmonizes the serenity prayer through service. Grant me the power to change what I can change, the patience to accept what I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Third house: skills, talent, communication. Core expression: healing speech, empathic communication, soulful documentation. Mercury plus Moon in Revati creates gentle, poetic communicators who bridge the worlds of language and feeling. These individuals excel in intuitive counseling, spiritual writing, musical narration, or emotionally nuanced communication. They instinctively know how to soothe through sound. Talent themes: music therapy, memoir writing, spiritual podcasts, nonverbal communication arts. Shadow side: tendency to retreat when misunderstood, guilt-driven sibling dynamics, escapist storytelling. Fifth house: creative intelligence and learning style core expression, imaginative intelligence, spiritual creativity, childlike wisdom. Jupiter plus Moon in Revati, 5th, gives profound emotional imagination, mystical storytelling ability, and a love for teaching that heals. These natives often teach through sacred metaphor, mythic illustration, or devotional arts. Their creativity is as vast as the ocean, but always seeks to uplift. Talent themes: bhakti art, sacred animation, children's storytelling, intuitive teaching. Shadow side: learning delays due to emotional overwhelm, avoidance of structure, over-identification with creative pain. Ninth house: higher learning and belief systems. Core expression: pilgrimage-based faith, spiritual eclecticism, compassionate wisdom. Sun plus Mercury in Revati, 9th, supports learning that is guided more by divine intuition than dogma. These natives may travel far to gather spiritual wisdom, then return to synthesize it into teachings that serve others. They are multilingual in spirit, drawing from many traditions while remaining lovingly grounded. Talent themes: spiritual travel writing, multilingual education, interfaith mediation, intuitive philosophy. Shadow side: over-romanticizing beliefs, difficulty establishing a central path, spiritual indecisiveness. 10th house, career, purpose, public contribution, core expression, compassionate service, artistic leadership, intuitive public work. Venus plus Saturn in Revati, 10th, crafts graceful healers, caretakers, or creative leaders who work tirelessly for others' well-being. They may rise in music healing, palliative care, arts-based NGOs, or child welfare systems. Though their work may not always be seen, it is often remembered, soft but indelible. Talent themes, animal care, hospice work, charity arts, spiritual performance, dream analysis. Shadow side, professional vagueness, overgiving in the workplace, fatigue from absorbing others' pain. Conclusion, Revati is the final cradle, where the soul prepares for rebirth by shedding illusion and embracing unity. These balanced nakshatra natives are soft-spoken guardians of collective transition. They guide with compassion, serve with humility, and lead not by pushing forward, but by opening space. In Revati, we learn that true balance is surrender, not to weakness, but to the flow of grace.